Hey guys, this is Cedar Rock Saw Shop. It's been a while since I posted a video. I'm out in my shop today. We got freezing rain down here in North Carolina and a pretty cold day, but I hadn't made a video. Like I say, I guess it's been a year or two maybe. I don't know, it's been a while. But I've been having a few comments, which I'm kind of surprised. I didn't think anybody would kind of check out my videos and all, but I had one guy that had asked me about aftermarket big bore kits, and I just wanted to do a quick video. I've got a couple saws here that I'm doing, and I just wanted to kind of give my personal opinions. I've been doing this for a lot of years now, probably 10 or 12 years now, and over the course of those years, the China stuff has it's improved. The quality has. You get different batches and different runs that the quality's not there. But for the most part, they're kind of consistent. I've got a 359 Husqvarna. I've actually put two Farmer Tech cranks in, both of them within a short amount of time. The rod bearing locked up on them. So crank wise for longevity, these is actually cranks out of 359. Both of these are Husqvarna cranks. So go that route if you can. They're certainly better longevity wise. This is a Farmer Tech crank out of a 44. In 2 years worth of time, I don't know if you can see the play in that rod. It hadn't locked up or nothing, but man, it had play. I was pretty disappointed in that. That's a good friend of mine. He's got a grading business, and actually I rebuilt that 44 again, put him up. Actually I had a 044 crank stashed away, so I was able to put him back with OEM stuff. But getting back to the aftermarket stuff, that same friend that actually had this crank in his 044, I built a Farmer Tech 372 saw, the 372 clone with a 52 millimeter big bore. Complete saw. The only thing on it that's Husqvarna is it's got a full wrap handlebar. The air filter base is Husqvarna. Let's see, the oil pickup tube was Husqvarna OEM, and that's it. Everything else was aftermarket on it. I mean, it's 99% Farmer Tech aftermarket saw. I give that saw, it's my saw, but I give it to my buddy back in September of last year. And I told him, I said, take this thing, use it, run it. If it blows up, it's no big deal. It's my saw. I just want to see how it's going to last. So from September till now, he's used that saw every week. And in his grading business where they clear lots, he hauls the logs back in. He's got a firewood business. So he uses this saw a lot. I mean, he may not use it every day, but he's used that thing at least every week since he's had it for me. And he told me, he's a steel man. He said, dude, he said, I use this saw. He said, I picked this up first. So I'm real tickled that saw has proven to last this long. Now, I don't know how long it will last, but, in everyday application where a man makes a living off a saw, I'm pretty tickled with what he's been able to do with that saw. And I told him, I said, run it till it blows. I said, if it don't blow, just keep running it. It's a test. I didn't build it to sell. I built it to test. I've actually got the Farmer Tech MS660 saw. I'm doing one of those with a big bore kit for myself, just as a test saw. I've got an MS660 that I run on my Logaso M8 chainsaw mill, and it's OEM saw, but I'm building the Farmer Tech because I want to compare it to my OEM MS660. So we'll see how it does. I've not got to it. I've got too much other stuff that I'm working on with customer saws. I've actually got this is a 046. This, the 046 is an OEM 52 millimeter. This has got an aftermarket 54 millimeter big bore kit on it, and I've cut about a quarter wood with it so far. I'm real impressed with the power. I don't know how long it will last. That's to That's to be told. I don't know how long it'll last, but there again, it's a test saw for myself. I just want to see how it's going to do. It's got good power. I don't know, like I say, I believe you could get as much out of the OEM cylinder, port and polish like I do. But hey, it's quite a bit less than an OEM cylinder is. So I got another one here, an MS440. I built for a customer. It's about 90% aftermarket. It's an aftermarket big bore kit, aftermarket crankcase, tank handle, piston and cylinder. Most everything on this saw is aftermarket. The starter recoil, the clutch cover, chain brake handle, carburetor, clutch drum. I think is the only thing on it that's OEM. The ignition, the flywheel, all that is aftermarket. So dual port muffler, 3/4 wrap handlebar. And it's a customer. I built him a couple 44s. He's got 036 that was OEM stuff, and I showed him actually. I think he got that saw. I guess it was last September. It was before I'd let my friend take my Farmer Tech 372, and he was impressed with that 372. He actually run it. He liked the power that it had, and he said, "Well, I'd like to try one of those in the steel." So that's what this is. I want to get a little more time on it and see how it's going to hold up, and then it's going to go to him. And they have a sawmill business, but they have so many saws that their saws won't get wore out. But in my experience of using these aftermarket big bore kits, I'm not a huge fan of them. Please don't think that I'm being an advocate for them. I'm not a big fan of them over OEM or even a Meteor kit. Meteor kit, you can get one of those from about anywhere for $150. And longevity wise, a Meteor kit is by far the cheapest and best route to go. But these aftermarket big bore kits, for an 044, an aftermarket big bore kit, you can probably get for less than $50. And for the everyday man that goes out here that's not a logger that gets to write that stuff off by buying a new saw every year or 5 or 6 new saws every year, why wouldn't you try it? Yeah, you got labor, but if you come to somebody that's an individual like me that does this as kind of a hobby, it's not a way that I put food on the table for my family. I don't charge what a steel shop would charge. Our local steel shop charges $75 an hour, and I'll charge 30. So, for an individual to weigh out the differences, hey, why not try that? It's a cheap alternative, and it'll put wood on the truck if if that's what you're doing with it. And most of my customers, that's what they're doing. I've got a few loggers that I do work for, but it's all OEM stuff for them. But the one thing that I have noticed, and even with my 372 clone saw that my buddy's got, running a mixture that has more oil in it seems to be the key to getting any kind of longevity out of these things. And I'm not saying that the aftermarket is going to last as long as OEM, because it won't. There's no way it will. Never will, because the quality's not there. But you will make it last longer by running a 40-to-1 mix or a 32-to-1 mix. If 50-to-1, I've got a 372 customer that I built a 372 for XP twice. Now, I built this thing twice, complete rebuild with new crank bearings, seals, and aftermarket big bore kits. He's running 50-to-1 mix. And I told him, I said, it's not going to last. You can't do that. Plus, when I got the thing back, somebody had been monkeying with his carburetor. And the way that carburetor was set, I bet you that stall was turning 15 grand. Or over 15 grand. That thing had to be screaming. And when that thing let go, it let go. It shrapnel everywhere. So, they're not going to stand up to that. But if you run a mixture that's got a heavy oil content in it, it's going to definitely help the longevity of that saw. So that's kind of my take on it. I hope that this might help some of the people that may watch this video. I don't know, I appreciate everybody that does watch the video. I never thought that I would ever get anybody to watch anything that I put up, but I've been doing this a long time, and I try to do stuff that's economical for people, help people out. I'm by no means am I rich, and I've got I've got to think about saving as much money as I can, and I like to help people do that. If I've got a customer that comes and says, what would be the best way to go, give them all the options and say, if you will take care of it, pay attention to the mix that you're mixing, you can get a lot of serviceability out of the aftermarkets, be it an OEM, or I'm sorry, being a factory size like a 50 millimeter for an 044, or even a 52-44 big bore. So that's what I'll say. That's just my take on it. I wanted to post this video and let everybody kind of hear my thoughts on it. And I know these others that's got better thoughts on it, and that would say, no, don't use the aftermarket, it's just junk. Well, yeah, it's not the quality that OEM is, but if it'll run and it'll cut firewood, it's not junk. I mean, it'll last just a little bit, and for what the aftermarket ones cost, you could rebuild a saw 2 to 3 times what putting an OEM kit on it would be. So like I say, I just wanted to post this video with my thoughts on it, just from what I've seen over the years. And like I say, it's you get a good batch, you can get a bad batch. It's really pot luck when you're ordering this stuff, but it's cheap enough that you can take a risk on it. And then if something does turn out to be bad, well, you're not out a whole bunch of money, So it's worth trying if you're doing it for yourself. If somebody that's mechanically inclined and they want to do it for themselves, you can save yourself a ton of money. I mean, a ton of money. I've got a weed eater from one of my best friends' father-in-law, and it's a Steel FS55, and he said, 2 years ago, the local steel shop put a carburetor on it and it's not run right, and yada yada, it's just this, and this. He said, will you look? I said, sure, I'll look at it. So, the carburetor, it's one of them OEM carburetors, got one screw adjustment to adjust everything. I hate them things. The 17s had them, those 17s, and the MS 180s, that I despise them things. Bought him an aftermarket carburetor with the new fuel line, new fuel filter, everything, parts, labor, everything. He's been able to be about $20. I mean, it took me no time to do it, and the thing runs like a top. Now, will it outlast, a Walbro that he went and bought at the local steel shop? Probably not. But this one, I would say, would last as long as the last one that he got down there that ain't run right since he got it back. So, the aftermarket world has its place, and so, that's up to whoever's doing it and whether you want to try it or not. So, but given my experience and what I've looked at it and what I've seen with them, it's definitely worth your time. So that's my 2 cents on it. If anybody watches this, I hear everybody say, like the video, leave me comments. If you want to like it, fine. If you don't, fine. But, I just appreciate you watching it, whether you like it or not. And if you got any questions or anything, leave me some comments. I'm glad to answer what I know. I mean, I certainly ain't the smartest fella ever knowed this stuff, but I'll answer any questions that I can. At least give you my experience and what I've seen. So, but thanks y'all for watching. I really appreciate it, and hope y'all have a good week. We're into 2018 now, a month in, and just hope everybody has a good year, and God bless y'all. Appreciate y'all watching, and we'll be seeing you soon.